So, does the universe care about our wants versus our needs when it comes to manifesting? And this is a question that I got from a client that I have worked with for the last probably 6 or 7 months that she asked me this morning. And it provoked me to come in and do a teaching on this because I think a lot of us have a misunderstanding based on our human consciousness and our ego of the way the universe really works when it comes to manifesting things into our life. So, if that is something you're interested in learning about, stay tuned and I will share all the details about how the universe responds to our wants versus our needs. Welcome back. My name is Angie, and I am your soul alignment mentor, bringing you intuitive messages to help you realign with your higher self and manifest the life that you truly desire. So, let's talk about wants versus needs when it comes to the universe and manifesting things into our life. And the reason that this has come to my mind is one of my lovely clients, she will know who she is as soon as she sees this, sent me a text today and asked this or made a statement basically that says, so we are taught to categorize things into needs versus wants. But I'm starting to realize that maybe the universe doesn't care about that. If I want something not in the 3D that is a need and I put energy out there, then I can attract it no matter what, right? So that got me all stirred up in my energy to want to share some personal experiences, but it's also some insight for you to understand how the universe really works. And when it comes to manifesting things into your life, what to focus on and how we can go about bringing things into our life that we desire, whether that's a need or a want. So, one of the things I want you to understand is the universe is not human. The universe is an energy. It's an energy source that is created from source energy. So all things are source energy. We are source energy, which if you're not 100% sure what source energy means, that means we as humans might call it God or the divine or higher being or consciousness, whatever that might be for you. We all have a different way of relating to this aspect of the eternal being God. And for this sake, I am going to be calling it and kind of referring to it as source energy. Because if you think of a source, something that is a source has the things within it that can give. It is a source of giving, it is a source of energy, is a source of an object. So we are an actual replica reflection of source energy. And I believe that at some point in one of my earlier videos, I talked about a meditation experience I had where I actually saw the energy of source energy. I saw the energy of God, and I got a very clear understanding of how we are a direct reflection of that energy and how we literally come out of this source energy as a smaller entity of itself. And then that part of us that comes out of this energy then reflects itself into other experiences, which we are currently viewing and seeing in the reflection of being a human. So our spirit is reflecting itself into a soul, and that soul is reflecting itself and coming and being embodied in the human experience in a human body. So we are living in a different dimension than what our spirit is. However, we are still one with our spirit. And when we come out of the human comprehension of different layers and different energies and different hierarchy of things, we can understand that everything is all one source energy, but it can have different frequencies, forms, and radiate in a different element within that energy. And if you think about things such as like an egg, the egg is one thing. So, but it has the shell, the white, and the yolk. That is all an egg. You have water, which is vapor, ice, water. That is all the same thing. So we humans are also a part of the entire divine universe, which is source energy reflecting itself outward. And when you come into this comprehension of all things being one energy, then all things exist within source. When we come into a lower consciousness comprehension within the human ego mind, and we are programmed to think in a way that is disconnected from self, disconnected from things that we desire, disconnected from each other, disconnected from the sources of needs versus wants. We see them as out there, not necessarily as something as who we are. And we have to work on coming back to self. We have to work on remembering and recreating that conscious understanding of the I am energy within ourselves that we are reflecting outward and is reflecting back to us. So what we are experiencing in our life is a direct reflection of our human experience and how we feel and sense and are within our own energy inward. So if there is something that you're struggling with outwardly, that means there is likely a reflection inwardly that is sending that frequency outward to receive that reflection back. Just like a radio tower. When you tune into the radio, when you turn it to a certain station, you will get that station. Now you can get out of balance and get static and all that stuff, but if you are in a place where you can have a clear connection with that radio station and you tune it to say a 103.4 or whatever it might be, you are going to experience that reflection, that energy back to you, and that's what you are going to bring into your awareness. Now, if you want to change your perspective, if you want to see something different change in your life, you have to change the channel. You have to change the frequency in order to get something new. So if I'm always projecting the same energy outward, then I'm always going to get the same thing back. And this comes with money. It comes with relationship. It comes with experiences that we have. This is why we often find ourselves in the same situations over and over and over and wondering, why does this keep happening? Or you might even say, I know I have said this before, like, oh, I knew that was going to happen. That always happens. That happens every time. That is because you are creating the experience. When you start to notice that you're saying things like, oh, that always happens, or this is what is the reality of what I am aware of, you can become more self-aware, have radical self-acceptance, look in the mirror, and come to the conclusion and comprehension of this is because I am sending out the frequency for this to come to me. And that is why the universe has no comprehension or recollection. I'm not sure how to say that word, so I'm just going to pass that one up. Understanding of whether you are sending out a need or a want, it just responds. And the only thing that the universe responds with is yes. That is all it ever says. If you are saying something out into the universe, for example, if you are wanting to manifest money or abundance in some way, and you are saying, and you are sending out the energy of, I need money. I am broke. I want more of this. The universe is going to respond with a yes, you do. And if you think about it in a very detailed, nitty gritty way where you get really into this energy, really into that thought of I need, or I want, or I desire, and the universe is only saying yes to that, then you are staying in that energy. You are staying in the I want. You are staying in the I need. You are staying in the I desire. So you have to shift your energy to the I am, to the I have, to the it is energy. And then in that case, the universe says yes, because that is all it says. So if I am really desiring to pull something into my life, I have to be very conscious about what I'm sending out. And it's not just through our words. We can say all day long, I am attracting abundance. I am abundant. I am always having positive experiences. I have a lot of money. There's $1 million in my bank account. Like there's all these things that we can verbally express. But if you think about our verbal expression, even in relationship with one another, we could say something to somebody, but not really mean it. I could say, like, if somebody says, hey, do you want to go do this thing with me on Friday? And I really honestly don't want to do it, but I say, yeah, sure, I'll go with you. And the whole time I'm like, God, I really wish I would have said no, or I wish I wasn't here, or I wish she didn't even ask, or they didn't even ask. That is the energy in which you are projecting yourself out. So you are going to be receiving information from the universe based on that energy. So even if we voice something, if we're saying affirmations all day long about things that we want to attract into our life, and we're not reprogramming our mind and our energy around that attraction and believing we deserve it and believing that it can come to us, we are not actually sending out the desire into the universe in the way that it can be reciprocated and brought back to us. So we have to take a moment and pause. First of all, why do you want that thing? What is the desire behind it? Is it beneficial for yourself, your life? Is it harmful in any way to anyone else? Is it something that is going to bring you joy? Is it going to bring other people joy? Is it stepping over the boundaries of other people? Like, kind of get a really deep understanding of your why. The universe will answer selfish ambitions. But I want you to understand, when you do something out of a selfish ambition, it does not actually give you the desired pleasure that you are seeking when you finally get it. It's almost like when you're chasing after something and you finally catch up to it and get it, or you're trying to reach a goal and you are just striving to get it, and you think all my problems are going to go away when this happens. And then you get to that point and none of your problems have changed. That is because you didn't do the work to change you. You just changed the outside circumstances. I can move to a completely different state around completely different people, thinking that it will solve my relationship problems. But I'm taking myself with me. And my energy is what creates the dynamics around me. So when it comes to wants versus needs, there are the core basic needs of being a human that we cannot get away from. It just is the reality of living as a human in a flesh and bones and blood and heart and brain and all this stuff that we have in our ego self, in our human self. The basic needs are the food, water, love and connection, safety, and feeling a sense of belonging. And that can go all the way to like the hierarchical needs of uh, Maslow's law of hierarchical needs, like all these things that a basic human need is. And that is why when I work with my clients, when I take them through the healing process, I work with their chakra energy, and I always start with the root chakra because that is our safety. That is where we find our stability in our self. And if we didn't have stability and safety in our early life between the time we were born and 8 to age 7, or even up until about 14, we are recreating the same situations and scenarios that we had in that time period in our adult life, and we wonder why we're still attracting the same things over and over. It's because we were programmed in a certain way and we're acting out of that program. Our frequency was fine-tuned to a certain way of being, and we continue that same frequency throughout our life, recreating the same scenarios and situations just in a different way, with different people, or different dynamics, or different physical place that you might be. But it's all the same reflection of who you are. So you have to come back to self and change the self, change the identity, change who you are on the inside within your energy, with your belief system, coming back into that understanding that you are a reflection of source energy, God, and then manifest out of that. So it takes time sometimes to do this. And when you start to feel more and more safe, and when you start to notice that, oh, I'm not worried as much about this, or I'm not striving as much about this, or I'm not caring and as much or controlling this situation as much, I'm just allowing it to be because I am just going to trust that it is what it is, that the universe is always providing to me what I need. And when you get into that place, that's when manifestation really takes off for you. And the universe will not look at you and think, that person needs $1,000 to pay their bills, and that person needs $1,000 to go on vacation. It has no comprehension of the difference in those desires and those needs other than what is being sent out in the energy. So if I am coming about it as fearful and anxious and, oh my God, if I don't get this money, I'm not going to have my bills paid, I'm not going to have this done, I'm not, all that stuff, that is the energy you're sending out, and the universe is going to say, yes, you're right, you don't have it. So you have to change the way you go about that and say, I am so thankful my needs are always met. And you may not be able to actually attach it to the money aspect. Maybe that money part is going to take a little bit longer for you to change and reprogram your mind around. But you can come to the areas that you can change a little bit more easier, where you can start to say things like, I always have my needs met. Everything is always covered. I'm always surprised at how things work out for me. Things have always worked out for me in the past. Why won't they work out for me now? Like sending that kind of energy out. That way you're taking the whole fear and aspect of, I don't have something that I need, out of it. And you're focusing on what it is happening, what is good, what is things that you want to continue to bring into your life. Then as you move into that, you can start working on the money mindset. And instead of sending out the energy of like, oh my God, I need $1,000 to pay my bills, I don't know how it's going to happen, you can say, I am so thankful that the universe already knows what I need, and that the $1,000 is already in my bank account. It is already there. It has already been accomplished. Then you start working that energy. Now, that is what we as a human and our human ego mind would call a need. I need this money because of this reason. That's a need. Now we have this idea that we separate desires and wants from our needs, but the universe has no comprehension of the two differences of what we think is a need and a want. So if you are wanting to manifest, say your bills are taken care of as much as they possibly can, but you don't have extra. You're just kind of like getting by. Your needs are met, but you're getting by. But you're really wanting to enjoy life more. You're wanting to go on vacation. You're wanting to go visit a friend. You're wanting to take that, class somewhere. Maybe you want to work with that healer. You want to sign up for this course, whatever it might be. And that's an extra expense on top of what your basic needs are. The universe isn't going to be like, I don't think that you should have that because you got to take care of your bills first. Yes, don't worry about having any desires like that. Just focus on your needs. That's not how the universe works. You are the one that causes the contrast and fear. We, as humans, cause this contrast and fear between the desires and needs. So when we get to the place where we trust our needs are met and we start thinking, gosh, I would really like to go on this vacation somewhere. And we might start looking at our bank account. We might start looking at all the things around us that we don't have. And we might become anxious about, should I do this? What if I do this and then I don't have enough to pay my bills? What if I do this and I don't have the ability to do this other need in my life? That is where we start to allow the ego mind to control us and take us out of that trusting energy that we can be a co-creator with the universe and one with the universe, one with source energy, one with the source that has all things that we desire, need, and can actually have if we want. And so where you're going to start to focus is just trusting. If you have this desire come up to go do this thing or to be involved in this thing, that there is a reason for it. It is your spirit wanting to seek out pleasure. It is your spirit wanting to go into a place of freedom and abundance. Abundance is not necessarily always Monday. Abundance is joy. Abundance is experiences. Abundance is friendship. Abundance is loving life and enjoying it. There's all kinds of ways that we can attract abundance. But we get in the mentality of, I can't do this part of my life until this part is okay. I want to give you a couple examples of how this has showed up in my life recently. And if you are just getting to know me and you're just starting to follow me, I left my full-time job at the end of January. The universe completely set things up for me to take the leap. It was a little shocking how it worked out. I was scared. I'm not going to lie. I had a lot of fear, but I also had a lot of peace and trust. And the weirdest thing ever was when I did take the leap, when I left my full-time job and I said, no, I'm not coming back. I had the most peace than I ever had, which was so surprising to me because in that situation, most people would feel very fearful of like, oh my gosh, how am I going to get my needs met? And I just really hung on to that peaceful emotion and feeling, believing that I am just taken care of. I am always taken care of. The weird thing that happened was I suddenly started to have this urge after I left my job to take a very long trip by myself, driving 17 hours. I live in Kansas, driving 17 hours from my home to Sedona, Arizona, to attend a conference that cost quite a bit of money. And as I was in the middle of thinking about going on this trip after I left my job and looking at my finances and thinking, okay, I could pull this off, but I'm going to have something come back in order for my needs to get met. So my desire and this thing I feel my spirit calling me to do, I could go do that, but I'm going to have to really trust that my other needs are going, like my basic needs are going to be taken care of when I do this. I spent probably a couple weeks in fear and worry. But the feeling could not go away. I could not stop thinking about actually making this trip work. And so I remember I meditated and I asked Spirit, can you please give me some clarity and understanding on making this decision? And I finally was like, I'm going to do it. I'm just going to do it. I got online and I purchased the ticket to the conference I wanted to go to, which was over $300. And then I got a place to stay. And after I got the place to stay and I kind of added up my finances because it was going to take 2 days to drive down there. So that's a lot of gas money. I started to think, maybe I want to go to another place. Since I'm going to be already so far away from home, why don't I drive to Utah? Why don't I drive to Colorado? Why don't I go all these places? Why I'm already out and just experience this, like embrace this freedom that I have. And so I went ahead and booked another place in Utah. And then I was like, I need to book a place in Colorado. So I'm just like sending out all this money, just trusting that the universe is going to bring it back to me. And as soon as I did it, I said, okay, I'm just going to believe. All of my needs are always taken care of. I have this desire. I'm going to follow through on it. I'm just going to do it. The very next day, I had 4 clients sign up in one day, and everything I had spent the day before was replaced plus some. That is how the universe works. But you have to be in the right frequency to receive and release that fear. So don't take action until you're in the right place, in the right energy, and where you're able to trust that these things happen. The universe will always deliver when you work with it, reciprocating the energy. There's always a energy going out and then always an energy coming in. The universe is always saying yes, 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 yes. Here is another example. About 7 months ago, I started getting into mountain biking. I had no idea that it was going to be so addicting. First of all, I had no idea that it was so expensive. I had no idea there was a whole culture around it. And I didn't know I was going to like it so much. I just thought, oh, this is going to be a fun activity that I can go engage in once in a while. But I became very addicted very fast. And I love a challenge. I love to grow. I like to put myself in situations where I have to work towards something. And quickly, I started to realize I need a better bike. I started out with a lot of fear in purchasing a mountain bike. And I went to a local store and I got what I consider to be a very expensive bike, around $200. I took this bike out and I began to ride it, and I quickly realized this is not going to meet the needs of an actual experience of mountain biking. So I returned that bike and I got just a little bit more expensive, like $300. So I'm like, surely this is going to be the bike that is going to meet my needs. I took it out the day that I got it and realized this is not going to work. I returned it that same day. I began to look online at the price of an actual mountain bike, and I started to realize, oh, this is a lot of money. If you're not sure, if you haven't been around a mountain biking community, a basic need, like a basic mountain bike, the lowest price is usually around $1,000. And fear rose up in me. But this desire and this longing to engage in this activity would not go away. And so I worked through this fear. I started to spend time with it. I started to notice it. Then as I started to notice the fear, I started to feel a little bit more comfortable, and I started being like, you know what? It will be okay. I need to just trust. If this is something that I feel like I desire, if this is a passion of mine, the universe will deliver for me. So I got online, I purchased a bike. I got one of the basic around $1,200, which is not a super nice bike in the mountain biking community. It was nice, but not like one of the high end ones. And I picked it up, and I had been mountain biking for the last 6 months, just enjoying every moment. I took my bike to Sedona with me when I went down, and I actually went to a mountain bike festival while I was there. And as I was there, I started to look around and notice, wow, I need a better bike. If I want to keep growing and expanding in this hobby, this skill, this inner child excitement that I get from this mountain biking experience, I'm going to have to get a better bike. So I began to send out the manifestation. I started writing affirmations. I started aligning my energy. I started believing I am going to get a new bike. I'm going to get a better bike. And before I knew it, things were starting to come into my awareness. I met a new friend local that she rides mountain bikes. We went out together. We rode together. We talked about my bike. She shared things about hers. And I began to understand that the universe was giving me opportunities to see that if I want this, then I can do it. I can attract it into my life. And it was going to be quite a bit more money than my first bike. And I sat with it for probably at least 3 weeks and continued to ask the universe, continue to work on my energy, work on my frequency, understand the desire behind it, all these things. And eventually I came to the conclusion that if I continue to hoard things and do things out of fear, then that is going to be the universe saying, yeah, you don't have it. You can't do it. It's not going to happen. We can't give you more money because you think that you don't have enough. So I'm sending out the information to the universe like, I don't have enough money to do anything. So I'm not going to get it. So I had the exact same experience as I did when I went to Sedona. I found a bike online. For about 3 days, it sat in my cart, in the cart online. I didn't actually pull through on the purchase. And finally, I was able to work through that fear, be in the right frequency when I sent the energy out, when I sent the payment out. And I sent it out last week. And in the last week, after I purchased that bike, I've gotten 3 new clients. So the universe reciprocates what we send out, always. I want to use one more example for you of something that physically that I have manifested that normally would have caused me a lot of fear around needs, finances, and things like that in the past. So I live in an older home, and it, hasn't always it's had some things that needed work on. And when I moved in over 14 years ago, I got a home warranty. And out of fear, I kept my home warranty because I'm like, gosh, if my AC goes out, it will cover that. If something in my plumbing happens, it will cover that. All these things will happen. Now, over the years, I haven't used it a ton, but I've used it enough to benefit. And inflammation has caused the price to go up every month that I have to pay for it. But it's always kind of been like, okay, so I'm always going to have that need met. And I think it has been a wise thing to do, but I've released my fear around being able to make that payment every month to keep the home warranty. I was out mowing, which I had manifested a new mower that didn't work. And then I manifested somebody to fix it for only $20. So I was out mowing my yard, and I noticed that the water meter in my yard had overflowing water coming out of it. my first reaction and instinct and a little bit of inkling was I wanted to start panicking. Oh my God, what is this? This is going to cost so much money. This is going to be so bad. I don't have a full-time job anymore. I have to rely on my own income of client, like all this stuff's coming up in my mind. And then I suddenly just feel peace. And I remind myself, wait, I trust the universe. The universe provided me for Sedona. The universe provided me for all these different things. Like, I have not ever not had my needs met. I've always had what I needed. And so I went about it in that way. I said, okay, my needs are always met. Normally, I would avoid that situation maybe for a couple days, like maybe it will go away, maybe that was like whatever. But I took action in that moment, and I called and I set up an appointment for a plumber to come out and look at my house and things. I had just updated my bathroom probably 4 months ago, and I needed a new toilet very badly. The toilet, I don't know what was going on with the people that lived here before, but the toilet is very small. I always called it the toddler toilet. And it was starting to not flush very well. So I really needed a new toilet. And so when the plumber was here, he looked at all the stuff. He looked at the water coming out of the water main. He's like, there's nothing on your end that's wrong in the house. So basically he's saying there's nothing to fix. And I just kind of threw out to him, can you look at my toilet? It doesn't always work well. And I don't know if that's connected to all this stuff or if it's just a separate thing. And he's like, well, I can. And I'm like, I know my home warranty will replace a toilet for me if it's a need. And he's like, well, I'll look at it. So he looks, he comes back out and he's like, yeah, we can replace your toilet. I got a brand new toilet because my water meter was overflowing in my front yard. Now, here's where it got even better. I had to stay in a very trusting energy because that problem was not actually solved. Everything else was okay on my end in my house with my plumbing. I got a new toilet, all this stuff. But I still had to trust the situation that had first took me on that journey. I then do research. I'm trying to figure out what is this. So I call the city that I live in and I let them know, hey, there's water coming out of my meter. My fear wanted to say, oh my God, they're going to find all these broken pipes underneath my yard. I'm going to have my yard dug up. I'm going to have all this replaced. It's going to be thousands of dollars. All this stuff is wanting to come up in my head. Then I remind myself, I send out the energy that I want to attract. I am going to believe that every issue that is happening right now is on their end, and they are the ones responsible to take care of it, not me. So they came out yesterday. They went to the meter. They fixed it. They didn't even knock on my door. The whole thing was on their end. I did not have to pay for anything. I did not have to say anything to them. It just was fixed. When that happened, I had this realization of I truly can manifest anything. If I believe it and I trust and I am in the right energy and frequency and sending out this belief that all things are always working out for me, whether it appears as if it's not or not, that situation did not appear as if it was working out for me. I could have been in a lot of fear. And I maybe could have manifested other things being wrong in that situation, but I completely trusted it. Now I look back at it and I'm like, wow, that was a gift. The universe used something that I didn't have to really fix or pay for to get me a new toilet. I needed a new toilet. I had sent out the energy. I need a new toilet, but I didn't want to replace it. I didn't want to do it myself. I didn't want to buy one. And I get a new toilet. My plumbing is fine. That's a blessing. And the water meter's fine. It all was completely fixed without any problems at all. Without me having to spend extra money. It just worked out. And this is how things can work when you trust. So if you have a need versus a want, I want you to just take steps forward. Do what you need to do in your energy to bring you into a trusting place where you know the universe is always going to reciprocate back to you what you reflect outward. If you need help understanding how to do that, please set up a session with me. I do individual healing with people where I take you through your chakras. I help you deprogram what you have been programmed to believe and to manifest and to share with the world and come back to self so you can change the reflection of who you are outwardly. If you need help, let me know. The link will be down below. You can just come over, schedule a 30-minute consultation with me. We'll do a healing session in that time as well. If you decide that's all I want and you want to be done, that's fine. But don't just hope that this will change. Take action. Show the universe, I am making a choice to change this, because the universe will reflect that back to you. It will provide you things to help you move forward and begin to change your reflection in the way that you attract things into your life. So set up an appointment with me and make sure that you become very radically self-aware of what you are sending out and what you believe. Because that belief, the universe will always say yes to. That is all the universe does. It says yes. So if this has helped you and you have questions or comments, I'd love if you would leave them below. If there's other things that you would like me to talk about in any kind of way or ask my spirit team to bring to you, I would love to have interaction with all of you guys to pull some information out of my spirit team. As a generator, it's always nice to have questions or comments or things that come towards me so I can respond to them. So I would love to have that with you. Like, subscribe, share with a friend, and I will see you next time. Have a lovely day, night, evening, whatever time it is for you. I send you all the universal love. Namaste.